Good afternoon. Earth model. So this model has been obtained through extensive experiment to compute the antenna height and coverage area for mobile communication system, and it is one of the most frequently adopted path loss model. It is one of the most frequently adopted path loss model which can predict the path loss in an urban area. And this particular model mainly covers the typical mobile communication system characteristic with a frequency band of 500 to 1500 megahertz. So which is of cell radius of 1 to 100 kilometer and an antenna height of 30 meter to 1000 meter. So the path loss at a distance d in the Okumura model, the equation for this is given here. Now in this equation, AMU of FD, it is a medium attenuation factor at frequency f, GRX and GTX. G area is the gain of the propagation environment in the specific area. So we can note that the antenna gain, that is GR and GTX, these are the function of antenna height without the other factor taken into account, like an antenna pattern. Meanwhile, G area can be referred to by the graph that have been obtained empirically from actual measurement. This model has been extended to cover the various propagation environments including urban, suburban and open area, which is now known as the Earth model. So in fact it is currently the most popular path loss model for the height of transmit antenna and the carrier frequency of FC megahertz. So path loss at distance d in an urban area is given by the equation. Equation is given here. This diagram represents the path loss graph for the three different environments: the urban, suburban and the open areas, which is given by the model in equations which are given above. And from that it is clear that the urban area gives the most significant path loss as compared to the other areas. Now the program for the MATLAB program for the path loss model is given here. So here is the program for that model. Now IEEE 802.16d, it is based on long normal shadowing path loss model. And there are three different types of model, that is type A, B and C. And depending on the density of the abstraction between the transmitter and receiver in a microcell suburb area. Here is a table which shows the three different types of the model, in which ART and BRT stands for above rooftop and below rooftop. So IEEE 802.16 path loss model is given by this equation. Now this table shows the type of IEEE 802.16D path loss model. The microcell sub-1 R2 BRT for hilly terrain with a moderate to heavy tree densities. So microcell sub R2 BRT for intermediate path loss condition. Also the macrocell R2 BRT for flat terrain with a light tree densities. Now this figure shows the path loss by the IEEE 802.16D model at the carrier frequency of 2 GHz, as the height of the transmit antenna is varied and height of the transmit antenna is fixed at 30 meter. Now note that when the height of transmit antenna is changed from 2 meter to 10 meter, there is a discontinuity at the distance of 100 meter, which causes some inconsistency in the prediction of the path loss. So for example, the path loss at the distance of 101 meter is larger than that at the distance of 99 meter by 8 dB. So this figure shows the path loss model, path loss by 802.16 model at carrier frequency 2 GHz, and the height of transmit antenna is varied and height of transmit antenna is fixed at 30 meter. So we have to note that here when height of transmit antenna is changed from 2 to 10 meter, there is a discontinuity at the distance of 100 meter, which causes some inconsistency in the prediction of the path loss. For example, the path loss at distance of 101 meter is larger than that at the distance of 99 meter by 8 dB. So even without a shadowing effect in the model, it implies that a new reference distance d0 dash must be defined to modify the existing model, and the new reference distance d0 dash is determined by equating the path loss in the equation to the free space loss. Now again this diagram shows the path loss by the modified 802.16 new model, which has been plotted by running the program which is given here, which calls the program PL IEEE 802.160, and discontinuity is no longer shown in this modified model unlike the one in figure. So here is the program for path loss model. This program is in MATLAB. This is a MATLAB program. So the next is the fading due to the time dispersion. Now the frequency selective fading channel, due to the time dispersion, a transmit signal may undergo fading over frequency domain either in a selective or non-selective manner, which is referred as a frequency selective fading or frequency non-selective fading respectively. So for the given channel frequency response, the frequency selective is generally governed by a signal bandwidth figure. Now this figure shows It illustrates how channel characteristics are affected by the signal bandwidth in the frequency domain due to the time dispersion according to the multipath, and the channel response varies with the frequency. So here the transmitted signal is subject to the frequency non-selective fading when signal bandwidth is narrow enough such that it may be transmitted over the flat response. That means the signal is subject to the frequency selective fading when signal bandwidth is wide enough such that it may be filtered out by a finite channel bandwidth. So as shown from the figure, we can say the received signal undergoes a frequency non-selective fading as long as the bandwidth of the wireless channel is wider than that of the signal bandwidth, while maintaining a constant amplitude and a linear phase response within a passband. A constant amplitude undergone by a signal bandwidth induces a flat fading, which is another term to refer to a frequency non-selective fading. Now, a narrower bandwidth implies that the symbol period T, which is greater than the delay period. So, even while the amplitude is slowly, implying that the inter-symbol interference IST, which is not significant, even while amplitude is slowly time varying in a frequency non-selective fading channel. So, it is often referred to as a narrow band channel, since the signal bandwidth is much narrower than the channel bandwidth. And to summarize that observation, the transmit signal is subject to the frequency non-selective fading under the condition which is given here. What is Bs, which is less than Bc, and Ts is greater than sigma t. Bs and Ts are the bandwidth and the symbol period of the transmitter Bs and Ts are the bandwidth and the symbol period of the transmit signal, while Bc and sigma t denote the coherence bandwidth and RMS delay spread respectively. So as mentioned earlier, the transmit signal undergoes a frequency selective fading when the wireless channel has a constant amplitude and a linear phase response only within a channel bandwidth narrower than the signal bandwidth. So in this case, the channel impulse response has a larger delay spread than a symbol period of the transmit signal due to the short symbol duration as compared to the multipath delay spread. The multiple delayed copies of the transmit signal is significantly overlapped with the subsequent symbol, incurring inter-symbol interference. And the term frequency selective channel is used simply because the amplitude of the frequency response varies with the frequency as opposed to the frequency flat nature of the frequency non-selective fading channel. So the occurrence of IST is obvious in the time domain since the channel delay is much greater than the symbol period, and this implies the signal bandwidth is greater than the coherent bandwidth Bc, and thus received signal will have a different amplitude in the frequency response. Since the signal bandwidth is larger than the bandwidth of the channel impulse response, in frequency selective fading channel, it is often referred to a wideband channel. So to summarize the observation above, the transmit signal is subject to the frequency selective fading.